That's an easy night for y'all. Y'all come here and box me up real quick, probably clip me, then go home.
As a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Jake Paul has reportedly been training with Shakur Stevenson as part of his intense preparation for the upcoming showdown against Gervonta "Tank" Davis. To simulate Tank's speed, precision, and movement, Jake brought in Stevenson to push his timing and defensive reflexes to the limit. After 5 years of dedicated boxing experience, Jake feels sharper than ever and believes this camp will be his best yet. With growing confidence and focus, he's setting out to stun the boxing world, vowing to stop Gervonta Davis and prove that he deserves recognition among the sport's top contenders.
Prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you. How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punch.
Jake Paul's evolution from internet star to professional boxer has been nothing short of impressive. Over the years, he's earned several official wins, showcasing his growing skill, discipline, and commitment to the sport. Despite constant criticism and doubt, Jake remains focused, training harder than ever. His upcoming clash with Gervonta "Tank" Davis stands as the ultimate test of his abilities. Determined to prove his critics wrong once again, Jake aims to show just how far his power, precision, and dedication have truly come.
The world and even shock myself and show myself what I'm capable of.
When you picture how it goes down, is there something that you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself knocking him out? Do you imagine being victorious? And what would that mean for you? A guy, again, who has only been in this sport for a couple of years. You've turned it on its head. You've had a massive impact, clearly, in just a few years, but it's only been a few years. That's the bottom line.
No, exactly. This is my 5th year as a pro. And so I've had to progress faster than anyone else in the sport to be able to compete at this level and to be able to hang in there with these guys. But I do believe that I have the power and the offense to be able to walk Tank into a knockout like I've done with other opponents and set them up for it. And so I am fully confident in my ability, and I think it would be one of the craziest upsets in a long time.
Yeah, one of the craziest upsets ever, probably, in many people's eyes. Well, I think I saw Cardi B just put a $250,000 bet down. It was a parlay, I believe, on Aspen all over Cyril Gahn. But then for Tank to beat you, have you seen that? And what do you think about Cardi B potentially placing a $250,000 bet here?
I didn't know.
I saw it on.
Jake Paul has taken his training to a new level by bringing in elite boxer Shakur Stevenson to his camp, a move that shows just how serious he is about preparation. Reports suggest Stevenson personally offered to help, giving Jake's camp a sense of legitimacy and focus. To emulate Gervonta Davis's trademark speed and southpaw stance, Paul has been working with several skilled left-handed sparring partners. This variety allows him to fine-tune his footwork, timing, and defensive awareness against styles similar to Tank's. Rather than relying purely on knockout power, Jake's new approach emphasizes discipline, movement, and endurance. With Stevenson's technical expertise guiding him, Paul's once unorthodox boxing style is evolving into something far more refined, a sign that he's genuinely aiming to compete with the best in the sport.
We got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast.
Even with the rise of celebrity boxing, the sport's classic spirit remains alive. Fans still gather around the ring for big fights, not only for the excitement, but for the tradition and respect that boxing represents. The upcoming showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis has reignited debates across the boxing world. Fighter Brian Mendoza shared his view, explaining that matchups like this are part of boxing's evolution. In his eyes, if an athlete can draw attention and bring money into the sport, then they've earned the chance to compete. Mendoza emphasized that boxing at its core is both a sport and a business, and visibility creates opportunity. This fight has captured global attention, reminding everyone that boxing remains as relevant and commercially powerful as ever, even in an era dominated by social media and viral moments.
Man, it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby.
You know,
I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like, I don't know the official one, they're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like, I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate it a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life.
The unexpected partnership between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson took the boxing world by surprise. Stevenson, widely respected for his calm focus and traditional approach to the sport, rarely associates with crossover fighters like Jake. Yet, this collaboration represents a unique bridge between classic boxing tradition and the modern, entertainment-driven era. While many observers found the pairing unusual, it's proving mutually beneficial. Jake is gaining technical insight from one of boxing's sharpest minds, while Stevenson is connecting with a younger, broader audience. Reports from inside the gym describe their training sessions as highly focused and intense, suggesting that even unconventional pairings can produce valuable growth. Ultimately, their alliance challenges old perceptions and highlights how boxing continues to evolve in today's fast-changing sports culture.
Shakur Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTube, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly?
Since the announcement of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, Shakur Stevenson hasn't stayed silent about his perspective. While many assumed his involvement automatically meant support for Jake, Stevenson clarified his position with careful reasoning. He approached the situation from two angles: business and competition. From a promotional standpoint, he acknowledged that the matchup would attract huge attention and generate major revenue, something the boxing industry always values. But from a pure sporting perspective, he admitted the fight doesn't fully align with the traditional spirit of competition. Rather than taking sides, Stevenson chose to remain objective, recognizing both the financial upside and the competitive concerns. His thoughtful, measured take reflects maturity. focusing less on personal bias and more on how the sport of boxing continues to evolve in the modern era.
In that opportunity, because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
Okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So, as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity,
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made. You think you might consider doing the same thing, right?
I would, but you gotta also realize, I know that it's not going nowhere. Like, the
Right.
fight ain't gonna go nowhere. Like, say, because if I really believe in myself,
Right.
and I wholeheartedly think, like, if we fight again, I'm gonna win this fight.
That fight still be there around the
After
corner.
I beat this motherfucker, where you at?
Yeah.
The fight still there. It's not gonna go nowhere. But if I have a 50-50 thought process to
doubt.
where it's like,
Right.
yeah, I got doubt in my brain, I may be like, all right, fuck it.
Also,
Let's
in his
cash
case,
out.
it might be that he's tired of fighting anyway. He's leaning towards retiring
Yeah,
anyway.
let's cash out.
So he's just gonna get that.
Boxing commentators are divided when it comes to the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta "Tank" Davis showdown. Many traditional fans view it as more of a media spectacle than a true sporting contest, worrying that it could distract from legitimate championship fights. Yet, even those same critics admit that these crossover events inject fresh energy and attract new audiences to the sport. The irony, of course, is that while many condemn the matchup, they still benefit from the attention and revenue it generates. Broadcasters, promoters, and even rival fighters all gain exposure from the buzz surrounding it. This situation perfectly reflects modern boxing, a sport that now thrives not only on athletic excellence, but also on personalities, rivalries, and narratives that capture the public's imagination.
For sure, it's a lot of people that switched over now. Everybody's
Okay.
like, oh, I've been telling y'all, Shakur. I know y'all have not. Y'all all been quiet.
They on the bandwagon
do
now.
you actually, we talked to Virgil Ortiz, right? He told us that he be screenshotting a lot of the hate on Instagram to remember to maybe one day comment on their posts. Do you remember certain comments or posts that bother you?
I remember it, but like, I'm not gonna screenshot it. What I do, I kind of like, if I see something, I be ready to argue it or go back and forth, but I get up and run.
But I'm
like,
talking
fuck it,
about
I'm gonna
Get
go
up and run.
run 3
Oh,
miles.
and
motivate
motivate you.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
for
talking
sure.
about like somebody that you know in the boxing industry that you respected, that you kind of was disappointed, like, damn, like
Everybody, except for the people that's like right there with me, like the Bud Crawford. He's somebody who kind of stay with me throughout everything, and I think he's one of the realest people in the sport of boxing. But everybody, I feel like everybody just said,
like commentators, people that host shows, or
people around me started moving different.
Like
everybody,
friends?
everybody,
really?
everybody.
So you had to cut some people off?
Yeah, yes, I cut people off.
You thought were friends.
Yes.
When you say moving different, what do you mean?
I ain't gonna like go into detail because I ain't gonna need to put everybody on the spot, but a lot of people start looking at me different. You know, social media make people think a certain image or certain things about you. Like, people I walk into every day, like, bro, I know you. I've been around you for years. You know me. So if you know me, how you feel as though that you gonna go and look at me different or treat me different than what I already was. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, what did Turkey say after that win, like on a personal conversation? Did he say anything to you?
Nah, he just said, good job. We gonna get you on in next.
Former UFC champion and veteran analyst Daniel Cormier offered a straightforward critique of the upcoming matchup, suggesting it lacks the excitement of other potential opponents for Gervonta "Tank" Davis. In Cormier's view, Tank has already earned his place among boxing's elite and doesn't need to participate in spectacle-driven bouts to prove his value. He emphasized that Davis has both financial stability and a lasting legacy, making this particular fight feel unnecessary. Cormier's perspective highlights the ongoing divide among combat sports veterans. Some welcome the crossover attention, while others believe it compromises the sport's competitive purity. Ironically, though, Cormier's candid remarks have only added more intrigue to the event, fueling anticipation for what's now one of the most talked about fights in the boxing world.
90. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
He's been a world
taking this
champion
fight.
so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like, I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and the Jose Suleiman was very upset that he wasn't going to be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's the thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 130.
That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updates, breakdowns, and boxing news coming your way. Until next time, keep your gloves up and your focus sharp.